TV. I'm responsible for the platform and our partnerships, working with our consumer electronics device partners and helping them deliver devices to the market and to consumers like you guys. Thanks for joining our Hangout today. I wanted to cover a couple of logistical things. First of all, we'll be taking questions via the chat window. So please mute your audio so that we don't get multiple audio going and kind of causing it difficult for others to hear. Also, as you may or may not know, there's a 10-person limit in the Hangout. So out of respect for others who may be waiting to get into the Hangout, after you've kind of heard enough, please exit the Hangout and give other people a chance. So please chime in with your questions there in the chat window. And while we're waiting for that, let me address. Let me address some of the questions that some folks have already posted on the site overnight. So I think one of the top questions has to do with the Logitech update. So let me address that right off the bat here. So the Logitech update is out. There are users who've already received the update and have reported receiving it. So as you may or may not know, we work closely with our partners in phasing the rollout very slowly initially to make sure that there aren't any issues with the rollout so that we can stop that. So we start with a very small number of folks, about 5% of folks who are randomly selected, and we monitor those updates and make sure there are no issues. And then over the next several days, we'll slowly wrap that up. So I would say if you're still eagerly awaiting your Logitech update, if you don't receive something, I'd say within a week, you should contact Logitech support and ask them perhaps there's an issue with your device. But give it a few days. Please be patient. I know you guys have all been very patient waiting for the Logitech update. Our partners have their own development and release processes, and they work carefully to make sure that they only release the product when they believe it's ready for their customers. So again, the Logitech update is rolling out now, and so you should be receiving it in the next few days. Let's see if we have any questions on the chat to cover. Okay, so so Robert here, you have a question about why does it say that apps aren't compatible on my Logitech review? I assume you're referring to apps in the market. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm not sure why it would do that. So you probably just got your Logitech update. So sometimes the market takes a little bit of time to synchronize. So what I would suggest is you try wait a little bit and then try connecting via your market again and see if it continues to say that. If it does, I would suggest you contact Logitech support and see if they can help you with your specific issue. Let's see. You're welcome. Any other questions on? Yeah, I think Earl is referring to here there's a specific mechanism that Android applications use to determine if an application if a device has all the features required to support an application. That's this manifest, that XML that's used to filter devices. So that's just kind of the under the hood mechanism on how that happens. Israel here has a question about OnLive. So our partners and us, we've been talking with OnLive off and on, and they are very interested in bringing their application to Android and Google TV. But right now there's nothing to announce about that, but there's still conversation going on with them. Okay, any other questions on the chat? No, I can see if I can pull up a few other questions that might have come up on the site. There were a number of questions that had to do with version of Netflix or Amazon HD, and I forget a few other ones. In general, those are all decisions that are made by the application developer. And so those questions would be best directed to the particular third-party developer as to when they are ready to deliver a particular feature or a new version to our product. So we are not able to speak on behalf of their plans. So your best bet would be to contact their support and ask them for what their plans are. I know there's a couple folks typing here. There we go. Some questions about Chrome. So the version of Chrome that is in this update is Chrome 11, and we are the version of Chrome for Google TV does not support the Chrome Web Store because it does not fully support all of the extensions features for Chrome. So that is a feature that we are working on bringing to Google TV. And so stay tuned for any more updates on that. Question about product managers. Yes, I saw that, Earl. So it does seem like there are a lot of us, but we are far outnumbered by the engineers. But the way we divide up the product managers are we are each responsible for a particular aspect of the product. So I'm responsible for working with the partners and all the low-level software that gets ported to all of the devices. We have other product managers responsible, say, working specifically with third-party application developers and enabling them to get all the right tools and getting their applications into the Android market. We have a product manager responsible for all of the internally developed Google TV applications, such as Photos and the YouTube for Google TV and the TV and Movies application. So that's what Yurik does, for example. So Donna hosted a Hangout recently. He's responsible for all of our content partnerships, working with all third-party developers. And then Rishi runs it all. So we all work for Rishi. So it does seem like there are a lot of us, but there are a lot of different parts of this product that we have to pull together. So that's kind of how we all divide up the work. So Google Music. So not sure what you mean by integration strategic plans, but we are working on a Google Music application that is optimized for Google TV devices. We're not ready to go any specific details on what the timeline and plans and features around that are, but obviously Google Music is a very important application and service for Google and for Android, and so we have people working very hard on getting that out. And hopefully we'll have news on that shortly. Right, TVs and rollouts. So we are working with, obviously we're working with Logitech and Sony. They've been great partners, and they are releasing this update, and we're talking to them about their future plans. There are other consumer electronics partners who we're talking to. Some of them we've announced earlier in the year. Some of them we haven't announced yet, and we'll be able to say more about what our plans are with them in the near future. But suffice to say, yeah, there is a lot of exciting news around new devices and partners that you'll be seeing by the mid part of next year. Yeah, so the enhanced DVR and advanced integration, we actually have publicized that protocol with all of the operators, and some of them, for example, Dish Networks has decided to implement a version of that protocol so that we can have the enhanced integration with with Google TV. Others have not decided to do that. That's their decision. My advice is for you to contact your service operator and ask them why they haven't done that, and that you're a happy Google TV owner and you would like them to add that capability. Let's see, there's a question about mirroring. So that's a great idea. we are actually developing a number of features on Google TV along with the Android guys. And we're not ready to go in any specific announcements on what features are coming out when. But suffice it to say, we have a large team of engineers here working very hard on a lot of new capabilities. One of the questions, for example, was around new versions of the Android operating system, Ice Cream Sandwich in particular, so we are working on that. And we have other capabilities and features under development. So in the near future, we will start announcing more specifically what those plans are, but today there's nothing we're ready to announce yet. There's a question about the Logitech review. Logitech still has a team in place working on the Google TV software for their devices, and we are working with them on what specifically the future releases will be. And so when Logitech is ready to say more specifically about what their next release will be and what it will include, then they'll announce more at that time. So let's see, while you guys are thinking, okay, here's another question about if and when Google provides cable and internet. I suppose, how do you expect? I suppose you're addressing the, I assume you're addressing the project that Google was doing in Kansas City and rolling out high-speed gigabit Ethernet internet access. That team will need to speak specifically about what their plans are in terms of any additional services or whatnot. But right now, all they've said is that they're rolling out gigabit high-speed internet access to select communities around the country. So let's see if bring up another question here. Okay, so cloud printing, yeah, so that's another example of a feature that's currently we're investigating. We really just are at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the capabilities of Google TV. There are a lot more features we can add, and certainly with the advent of with the additional support for Android market, we have a lot of third-party developers also adding a lot of new features to our platform. So this product, we're still at the very beginning, and this platform will continue to grow over time. You'll see more applications, you'll see new updates that add more features, you'll see more device partners over time. So there's a lot of runway ahead of us, and we're looking at a lot of features and products to add. So Spotify is another great example. It's a great application. It's a great Android application. It would be you'll have to ask them when their plans are to develop when to release a Google TV specific application. But all the Android developers are very excited about the possibilities for Google TV, and they're all eagerly working on creating applications for our platform. So Earl has a question here about Flash. So, he's referring, if you haven't heard, Adobe has made an announcement that they will be ramping down support for their Flash player in embedded devices, on PC and Mac desktop devices. But we still have Flash support in our current version of the Google TV software release. And we will continue to include that in our release. We're looking into what additional bug fixes or versions of Flash make sense for us to add on. But at this time, we don't have any plans to announce exactly what we're going to do. Let's see, while we're waiting for other questions to come in. So we have a question here about Samsung's announcement about, or claims about their changes. So I can't speak specifically about what Samsung's plans are. We'll have to let them address their specific claims, I guess. But I will say in general, we encourage our consumer electronics partners to add their own differentiation or features or customizations that make sense for their particular target consumers and customers. A great example is you look at the differences between what Logitech and Sony have done in terms of their applications they've added. Logitech, for example, had their video conferencing capabilities and their Harmony capabilities. Both are very important to Logitech, so they built those into their product. Sony has their own music service, or video service, Curiosity, so they chose to make that a big part of their product. So that's an example of how they're adding differentiation. So you'll see as more and more different devices start coming out, they'll all have their own tweaks or customizations or different user interfaces or whatnot that the different partners have decided where they wanted to really differentiate and create a unique experience for their customers.
Will the update be rolled out in Europe also?
Hi, you probably just joined, so I'll answer your question about Europe, but for the new folks who just joined, please mute your audios and ask your questions via chat so that the audio is easy to hear for others on the Hangout. And for new folks, let me just introduce myself again. So my name's Larry Yang. I'm a product manager for Google TV platform and partnerships, responsible for working with the consumer electronics partners and helping them bring devices out to the market. Your question specifically about Europe. So along with all the other features and partners that we're currently working on, being able to offer capabilities overseas in other countries besides the United States and North America is another feature, if you will, that we're working on, both in terms of the software that we're implementing as well as working with partners on how to deploy that. We don't have any specific plans that we're ready to announce yet, but certainly Europe is an important market for us as well as our partners, and we're working actively with them on a product for that market.
Sorry, but I already have the review here in Europe, in Austria, and I want to know if the update for the review is also rolled out to a European IP address.
Yeah, again, please ask your questions in chat, but you'll have to ask Logitech specifically about how that will work. That's a technical question that's unique, I think, to the Logitech device. So you should contact Logitech support and ask them. There's a question about game mode, and I think there's another one about video chat. So let me talk about the video chat. So as with the other third-party services and applications, we're working on adding those capabilities to the product. Obviously, Hangout is a big capability for Google as well as for companies like Logitech and others who sell cameras. So that's another feature that's under development right now, and we'll have more to say about that in the near future. Game mode is a great question. That's a question that's best directed to specific consumer electronics manufacturers, Sony or whoever else announces television devices. As a gamer myself, I know that's an important capability that I know I always ask about. Believe me that the TV manufacturers appreciate that this is an issue and they're working to address it. So while we're waiting for folks to type in their question, let me see if there's another one I haven't addressed yet. Why is review update delayed? Right, so it's fine. I'll repeat what I said at the beginning since we're rotating people through the Hangout. So no problem answering that same question again. The Logitech, each of our partners have their own development process and different testing and release process, and they make their own decisions as to when they feel a software update is has gone through the sufficient development and release testing. That's they make their own decision as to when it's ready for their customers. And so Logitech was working through their development process. They went through their testing, and they now feel it's ready for the update. So the update is going out now. I know folks have already started receiving it. It is rolled out in a phased approach, where in the first couple days, a very small number receive an update, so that we make sure that there are no issues and we can stop the update in case there are any issues. So the small number of people are selected at random, and over the next several days, they'll offer that update to all of the devices. So I would say if you don't receive an update, I'd say within the next week or so, you should go ahead and contact Logitech support and ask them if there's perhaps an issue with your particular device that needs addressing. Okay, a bunch of questions here rolled by that I might have missed. So, is there a reason because of Engadget? I don't know what Engadget might be referring to, so let me get my cursor. Multitasking. Yeah, so that sounds like a specific question, capability that's unique to your specific DNA application or your specific photo viewer. Android gives applications a lot of flexibility for multitasking, and it's really up to the application how to decide to manage that. So if it's not working the way you'd like, your best option is to give feedback to that application developer and ask them for supporting that feature. Okay, let me see. There's a question about music and movies in Android market. So I can't speak specifically to the market plans, but obviously the ability to watch movies and music is important for a television type device. And so we are working with the Android team, as well as the YouTube team, as well as third parties on being able to bring premium, either subscription or rental content. So as more and more of those applications become available, we'll be announcing those. There's a question about, in addition to manufacturer adding Google TV. Yeah. So we believe that there needs to be a variety of different types of form factors and devices that use Google TV. So obviously television is an obvious device to integrate the Google TV software. But anything that connects to television is also a good candidate. So we expect that companies will still continue to bring out either standalone companion devices like the Logitech Review, as well as Blu-ray integrated devices like the Sony Blu-ray player. And there are CE manufacturers talking about other types of form factors that I can't get into specifics on. But there are people working on devices other than just television. I think I missed one earlier. Okay. Is it possible to share the USB hard disk? I think you're talking about sharing as sort of a network over the network. Yeah, so again, that's a feature that we're looking to implement. We have a long list of, there are a lot of people on the Google TV team who are big local media consumers who have either want to plug a device into a local USB connector or over the network. So that's certainly something that people are working on. So there are, as someone mentioned here, there are third parties who are also working to enable that capability. So, as I mentioned, there are a lot of there's a lot of potential. We're still just scratching the surface with Google TV, and over time, you'll see more and more features either delivered by Google as part of the Google TV platform, by our partners as enhanced capabilities and features, as well as through third-party developers via Android Market. This is a question about moved external drive. Same answer. I know I'm sounding like a broken record. That is also on the list of features we're working on, and once we get that feature working well, and then we'll have more information to share. So let me. While we're waiting for others to finish typing, one thing that I should point out is along the lines of, because now we have Android Market, the application's getting better and your product getting better over time. Since we first released Google TV version 2 on Honeycomb 6 weeks ago or so, we've already updated the YouTube application and the Photos application. So some of you who have the Sony devices may have already noticed additional features have been added to the YouTube application and the Photos application. So you can see already, you're already starting to experience that that your product is getting better now that Android Market is. There's a question about hardware seems to be a little slow. I think we know that speed and performance is very important, and that's an area that we're continuing to make improvements on, working closely with partners, making sure that they have sufficient mundane things like CPU speed and memory and whatnot, as well as working with them on optimizing the driver software, our software as well. So with each release, you'll see better and better performance. We know that's an important capability that users often ask for. So you'll see that getting better over time. Rahul asked about ice cream sandwich. So like all of the other features we're currently working on, porting to the newest version of Android is also an activity that we're working on. We're not ready to announce any specific time frame right now, but that's an activity that's going on. Yeah, so Earl, I saw this question earlier. I'm not aware of this. I'll have to look into that, but I'm not aware of this this issue that you're raising here. I'm sure you're correct. I just was not aware of it, so I'll have to investigate it. So for those of you who just joined, I know thank you for waiting to get in on the Hangout. My name is Larry Gang. I'm a product manager for the Google TV platform and partnerships. I'm responsible for working with our consumer electronics partners in helping them bring up Google TV onto their devices and helping them get their device to the market. And also for those of you just joining, if you haven't, please mute your microphone and ask your questions over in the chat window so that we don't have too much audio going on so people can hear clearly. And for those of you who've been on the chat for the past half hour, if you want to give others a chance to get in on the last 10 minutes or so in the Hangout, I'm sure they would appreciate it. So I'll have to let Logitech speak specifically about the. Thank you, Rivul. Thank you for joining the Hangout. There's a question about NKV files with DTS. I'll have to let Logitech address specifically which media formats that they've chosen to add or support in their device. They usually have a pretty good website about things like support for that. And if that doesn't answer your question, you can try asking on one of their forums or contacting their support and asking specifically. So Earl is asking about, yeah, so this actually, so our, us and our partners, so let me just back up. So I think the issue Earl is addressing is the ability, so on some networks, you actually need to have some authentication either via a browser or having to actually know the MAC ID, for example, before being able to get on the network. And so we're aware of this issue, and like all the other feature requests, we're working on this one with our partners. The setup wizard is, we actually just deliver a template of the setup wizard to our partners, and they add a lot of their capabilities that are unique to their product. So I know that this is one that they're aware of, and they should be addressing that soon. So Wolfgang's asking, is there a pure Google TV like the Nexus? We're working on a number of different types of Google TV devices, and we don't have any specific product plans that we're ready to announce right now. Yeah, so Earl is asking about video conferencing. I might have mentioned that a little earlier. We are working with, we're working on adding those capabilities into the platform, working with the Google Hangouts team on being able to bring that capability, also working with Skype on bringing theirs and other third-party video chat services, and also working with camera manufacturers like Logitech to enable that. So a lot of pieces we have to put together. Nothing to announce, unfortunately. I know that's a very frequently requested feature. So we want to make sure we deliver a really good experience. So we're working closely with all of the different players, and hopefully we'll have more to say in the near future on that. Guys asking about stream the HDMI input to a mobile device. I guess you're talking about, Wolfgang, you're talking about something like a Sling player type of capability. That sounds like a great feature, and I think we would need to see if third parties are interested in implementing that type of capability via an application, not only that runs on Google TV, obviously, but also an application that runs on a mobile device to receive that. So, a lot of great ideas, and a lot of developers are interested in adding these types of capabilities, and so look for more applications and capabilities and services such as these from our third parties. So Earl's asking a question here about social. Obviously, social is very important to Google, and there are a lot of social integration capabilities that are currently under discussion internally. So, like with all of the future features and product capabilities, nothing to announce right now, but hopefully we'll have something to say soon. There's a question here. I just scroll down. GTV Hacker. I can't comment on what GTV Hacker is up to. So I'll just leave that. You'll have to ask them. So we have about 5 more minutes, so before we need to wrap things up. So if anyone has any final questions they want to get in, now would be a good time. Wolfgang's asking about Europe. Yes, we know we have a lot of people, customers who are eager to